We are going through an unprecedented climate crisis rooted in how societal life is constructed. As design researchers, we are all aware of the fact that this requires an urgent radical change that is not self evident. Environmental challenges are often addressed apart from their societal dynamics. This enhances or risks to enhance polarization on climate related topics. Different world experiences and views conflict. This is demonstrated by the recent floods in the Low Countries. The institutional projects that aim to raise awareness on how we as inhabitants of these countries should deal with water in our environment often clash with the means we have to deal with them. The confrontation between worlds is especially apparent for those who have paid the most for the effects of the water crisis, who, for instance, live in the destroyed houses by the floods. They are often the people who cannot choose where to build their house or have the means to take special water measures. This demonstrates how environmental issues are experienced and perceived in many different ways by different worlds and are thus better called socio-environmental challenges. This social character of the environmental crisis has raised awareness of governments, researchers, and organizations of the need to address environmental challenges in participatory ways. As researchers involved in participatory design processes around socio-environmental issues, we have described that the experience with setting up participatory processes has grown in many organizations we work with. However, we also observe that the relations they build up with diverse worlds remain often institution driven. They have an aim, such as designing more water resilient housing, and they want to gain support for this aim from different worlds, such as inhabitants, organizations who build infrastructures, or municipalities. People who respond to these participation processes are most often those who are already interested in these topics, the most affected by or opposed to the institutional measures. In this approach, many people remain silent. In order to address those who are silent, we have described in previous work that there is a great need for complementing the institution based approach with a more careful approach to participation that aims for a better understanding of the different worlds in which people live and work. The participatory design field has built up rich experience in creating more understanding of and synergies between worlds in technology sectors, and more recently also when dealing with socio-environmental challenges. However, the capabilities needed for doing so have not been sufficiently articulated, shared, or integrated into advanced participatory design research and education, as was the case for PD's valuable work in technology sectors that has been discussed in the first Routledge Participatory Design Handbook. Therefore, we, as a group of 13 researchers connected to 7 institutions, started investigating a framework for research and training in participatory design called Reworlding, a way of thinking and designing the world as a world where many worlds fit. During the past 2 years, we organized internal and external workshops and training activities. The workshops engaged with the question what design capabilities are required to enable next generation researchers to identify, develop, and implement design approaches that articulate and tackle the connections between worlds in addressing socio-environmental challenges. Based on the experience with the Participation Studio, an approach of University of Hasselt that investigates and imagines the participatory ways in which public and private organizations work, we explored 4 reworlding design capabilities: retracing, reconnecting, reimagining, and reinstitutioning. These were, for instance, discussed in the DASIS Philosophy Talk workshop at the Nordes 2021 conference with a group of 40 design researchers. As an example, we referred to our own case study related to water, and the participants were asked to bring their own case studies tackling socio-environmental challenges, which led to more precise definitions of the foregrounded design capabilities. The participants defined retracing as a necessary activity of engaging in situated encounters with diverse worlds to discover collective ways of doing and caring for socio-environmental challenges. For instance, the question was raised, how can design capabilities start from tracing different cultures of living with water that challenge institutional assumptions on how water should be used in the house or the garden? The participants thought that this capability can support designers to visualize different views on matters of socio-environmental concern. The participants considered reconnecting as a capability of looking for new synergies between existing ways of doing and caring at specific locations by co-designing translation objects between them. As one of our participant notes, we need perhaps to listen to the inhabitants and the water rather than claim that it is silent, and listening with different ears can contribute to a more multifaceted understanding of water as a non-human actor. To capture that multifaceted understanding in the water case study, we made a visual water atlas. The participants articulated reimagining as a capability of improvising and experimenting with more caring situated designs that reflect the connections between worlds. In the water project, design practices of depaving, removing, and undoing the build, for instance in private gardens, reimagines traditional expectations of what it means to build by design. However, the practices of depaving also needed to be reimagined in relation to the worlds of people who do not consider a depaved surface as clean for inviting friends and family. Finally, the participants discussed reinstitutioning as the capability of working across scales, communities, and institutions to co-steer and challenge planning and policy. For instance, it was discussed by the participants that water companies often perceive water issues from a technical viewpoint. As the participants noticed, reinstitutioning capabilities can help shift their perspectives by articulating the microecology of rainwater collection, for instance, which includes very diverse actors and species, such as the smell of water or the insect it gathers, that these companies initially might disregard as irrelevant, but can inhibit people to collect water in their gardens. The discussions were supposed to result in an atlas of reimagined capabilities, embedded in their corresponding contexts in order to be transferred to other PD researchers and practitioners. The participants found it very important to co-define a few principles for these capabilities. First, they are defined based on experiences in the situated contexts of socio-environmental case studies. Second, they support bringing diverse actors together to act upon socio-environmental urgencies in contexts of increased societal polarization. Third, they are defined as collective capabilities that are built together by a group, organization, or institution. And fourth, they all share a re-prefix as an indication of our alignment with anthropologist Escobar's call for reworlding as redesigning the world. Some workshop participants were worried that the approach of capabilities might become linked to a belief that in a design process, capabilities can be neatly distinguished from each other. To avoid this type of instrumentalization, it was discussed that the development of capabilities needs to be framed as a situated practice that can never be disconnected from the actors and spaces they engage with. The separation of capabilities is then only to be used as a working method that helps to translate a reworlding approach into educational purposes and learning environments. In summary, capabilities were defined in this research for reasons of transferring, but without sacrificing their situatedness. How this can be done will be further addressed in the next steps of this study.